Hello, everyone. I'm Derek Mazzarella, CFP with Gateway Financial Partners. Today, I'm actually joined with Joe Lander of The Life You Love Coaching. So, Joe, how are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you, Derek?
Great. We got a special treat for you guys today. So, basically, what we're going to be going over is Joe is a coach, but he helps people transition and find their true purpose. So, a little background on Joe. Joe is a former practicing attorney and law firm partner who also was also an HR manager who led three major divisions in a Fortune 500 company, was a certified financial planner like myself with 18 years experience in this financial services industry, and is now a breakthrough coach who helps successful heart-centered professionals, executives, and other business leaders confidently create their own powerful personal succession plans that can live uh, a more fulfilling life with joy and purpose. So, Joe, happy to have you here. I think we've got a lot of great things we're going to talk about today. So, hopefully, you guys watch the whole video. Stay in tune. So, Joe, let's start off simple. So, how do you really help people? Coach is a pretty broad term. So, what do you do?
Sure. Well, Derek, what I'm finding, and maybe you've seen the same thing, is that there are many what I call high achieving professionals and business leaders who have been feeling like, even though to everyone else they seem to have it all figured out,
Yeah.
um, they're feeling like they're on this perpetual hamster wheel. Yes, they're making good money. They've got a lot of this stuff, but there's like this nagging, gnawing feeling that they're meant for more, that there's something more they're supposed to be doing in
Mhm.
this lifetime that they'd love to do, and that would make a great impact on something they really believe in. But a lot of times what happens is they're feeling frustrated and dissatisfied with where they're at about that, because they've already built so much lifestyle based on what they've been trained to do and what they're really good at. So they're like freaked out about the idea of doing anything, even a side hustle, that would in any way jeopardize what they've built to this point. So they're wondering, is there a way of making some sort of a pivot? And especially after the pandemic, a lot of self-reflection. People are starting to think, is there something more? But is there a way of doing it without like having to liquidate the entire 401k and create total chaos for their
Yeah.
families
Right.
and
We're not
themselves?
saying you need to, cut off what you're doing and live in a camper somewhere in Hawaii, right?
All right.
Okay.
In a van
Great.
down by the river.
Yeah, yeah. So what's kind of a common misconception in your industry that you kind of run across with people that's maybe start to work with you or skeptical about working with you?
Well, a lot of people think in terms of when they hear the term coach, like I identify as a breakthrough coach. What
Mhm.
they're thinking is sometimes it's like, I don't know, this sounds like too much like counseling or therapy. And I'm not into lying down on a couch and talking about my feelings or my relationship with my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And,
Right. Right. Right.
and that's not coaching. you know there may be things that come up in terms of how the brain works and our belief systems, and some of that might be tied to childhood, but the coaching doesn't emphasize necessarily having to work through the trauma and the feelings and emotions that might be present, but it's more about, let's look at the thinking, the mindset, and let's have you in a practical way being able to move forward in a new way in your life.
Gotcha.
That's probably one of the biggest ones. There's also misconceptions of the difference between a coach and a consultant.
Yeah.
Whereas a consultant, you're paying to just come in. Hey, I don't need you to work with me to figure this stuff out. Just tell me what I got to do. Give me the game plan, much like a sports coach,
Yeah. That makes
and let me execute. And coaching is typically more interactive.
sense.
Um, and probably the last one I would point to is, some people think it's a little woo woo, a little like, oh, life coaching. It's like touchy feely
Yeah.
kind of stuff, and don't realize the practical, literally breakthroughs that can come from just a slight twist in something a blind spot that you haven't realized has been holding you back from what's there. And once you do, all of a sudden endless possibilities are in front of you.
Great. So, one of the things that I probably kind of have seen in my career too, especially with the financial side, people think, I'm kind of stuck here. I've got my mortgage, I've got kids, I've got college I've got to pay for, or, we're on track for retirement, all that stuff. So, it's easy to feel like I've been working in this job. I'm pretty good at it. I'm getting paid pretty well. I don't love it though, and it's not fulfilling to me, but I
Yeah.
feel like I can't leave. So how do you work with people in that regard and kind of get them to transition to something that they do feel fulfilled with without, cratering their lifestyle?
Yes. Excellent question. That's the biggie. And I think probably there's a lot of people who are thinking that very question in their own brains. So um that really is where the personal succession plan comes into. And why succession plan? Usually you think of succession plan as something that goes on within organizations, companies, what like how do we get our leaders and our highest performers, make sure that they're satisfied, make sure that they see a path forward to what's going to be their roles in the future, so that they have something that they're looking forward to and don't feel like they're just stuck in the rut, head down charging to, for the bottom line right now.
Right.
Um, and people don't think in terms of, wait a second, what about my own personal succession plan? Like what can I start creating that, even if it's not like an immediate, okay, see you later, I'm going to sell pencils in the Caribbean. But if it, because they have all the things that you've mentioned, the responsibilities, the family ties, the mortgage, all those things, is there a way to start moving towards it so that it already starts bringing more meaning and purpose in their lives? And I do have a masterclass where I really flesh this out in a lot more detail on the 3 really key and crucial steps to take to create your own personal, what I call your own powerful personal succession plan.
Gotcha. Okay. So what can you give us kind of a quick outline of what those 3 steps would be?
Yeah, sure. Step number 1 is to stop those yeah buts that are literally holding you in place and stopping you from living what I call your undeniable purpose, which you may or may not be clear on, but which we uncover in your own words and figure out what that is. What comes to mind in that regard is a book by an author, Bronnie Ware, who was a hospice nurse who interviewed hundreds, if not thousands, of patients who were nearing their death. And she came out with a book called The 5 Top Regrets of the Dying. And what do you think number 1, the biggest regret that the dying have is?
I mean, it's got to be haven't had enough pizza in their life, right? Something like that.
Don't forget the beer to go with it.
Yeah.
It's actually, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself instead of the one that others expected of me.
Yeah.
So it's pointing towards, wow, what a forewarning. It's like, you know what? Now's the time to not let the, yeah, but I've got the mortgage. Yeah, but I've got this, I've got that. Those are all legitimate considerations, but are you going to let that stop you from even exploring what might be possible for you, what might be within you that's meant to come out and that you're meant to do before this life is over? So
I mean,
key
that's
step
that's
one.
incredibly powerful because I feel like most people probably have a feeling like I have time, I'll do this later,
Yeah.
or when I retire, I'll do
Yep.
this
Someday.
someday. It's some days probably one of the worst things you could do because someday I'll save more money, someday I'll do what I want to do. You may not have that time. So how do you get them to kind of create some urgency around that?
Yeah. So a lot of times what happens is they already feel a certain, the people that I work with, the clients I work with, don't need a lot of prodding. They hear this and they go, this guy's in my head. And I myself lived it throughout my whole professional career, which is why, as you would at the beginning when you introduced me, why you see different experiences, HR, lawyer, finance. I was always asking, is this what I'm really meant to do? So for those that resonates with, we do uncover and identify what is their undeniable purpose, that which is not going to be denied. It's going to keep nagging and pleading with you to do something with it until you do. The next thing is really getting out of your own way.
Right.
And that may sound like, well, what do you mean get out of my own way? The number one thing that happens once you start identifying, wow, that really is exciting. That is what I'm here to
Yeah.
do. Is what I really want to start pursuing and figuring out how to create. What happens is what occurs is what I call the ills start crawling out of the woodwork. And ills is really an acronym for the inevitable imagined limitations. They're the limiting beliefs, the thoughts and beliefs that have been with us for as long as we can remember. We don't even remember it. They're just part of us, and that they will stop you in your tracks. Sounded like a good idea. Yeah, I got really inspired by it, but that's it. I'm not. I can't imagine actually doing something about it. And we look at what are those limiting thoughts that we can get to and break through. And that's what I'm trained in and certified in, is how, in not with years of therapy, not with months and months and months of belaboring and having to go deep, how do we quickly get to those limiting beliefs and transform them so now they've been transmuted into something that's actually working in your favor, empowering you, fueling you each day, as you're still have one foot in the existing world that's sustaining you, but now can see the path moving forward, and it excites you.
Right. Well, that you just kind of raised an interesting point there. So do you find that it's job related where most of these people are transitioning to a new job, or do you think it's, oh, I just want to do something outside of work that gives me fulfillment, or is there a mix of the two that you found?
Great question, Derek. I'm not here to this gets back to sort of what we talked about, the role of consultant versus a coach. I don't see my role as telling you, oh, you need to quit your job, or oh, you need to just create your own business, or you should shift to another profession. Oh, you're a doctor, you should become a lawyer. No, it's none of that. It for some people, it is starting to realize, wow, there is a business that would fulfill them. Much like you are in business for yourself and have created something great and it fulfills you. For others, that could be it. And then and we look at that, and then that opens up a whole set of resources available to figure out what does that really mean, and how do we take the steps towards that. For others, it could mean it is a mindset shift. It could be that there's something within their profession currently that they realize, no, I actually do want to stay with this, but I realize what I haven't been doing that really does fulfill me more, because I've been so focused on the bottom line and the revenue and the profitability. But you know what? At this stage, here's what I'd like to pivot to within my profession, and that's something to explore as well.
Yeah, I mean, that can be incredibly powerful. I mean, basically, my story was kind of similar to that second notion you had, where I love what I do. I was at another firm, but I found I was kind of restricted in a few different ways. And, I found that moving to a different firm allowed me more freedom and kind of let me build the practice that I wanted to build, instead of one that's kind of built around parameters. So it's not like you need a wholesale change to have, that purpose in your life. Right. But I think the important thing is recognizing when you aren't fulfilled or you aren't fully happy, and thinking, okay, what do I like? What fulfills me? And can I do that here, or do I need to do that somewhere else?
Yes. And not feeling like you have to figure that out on your own.
Right.
Not everyone wants to just read a book with the how-to, or anything like, or go to one workshop in a weekend and suddenly come out and like, okay, I've seen the light. I got, it's more like, and that's what getting back to your question about how do I help people, and what differentiates me is I really take the time. I'm there every step of the way to flesh that out, to help with that thought process of what it might be, and to use the key questions that can help you, and not just leave you up to, all right, write your notebook and now go act on it, but like flesh it out, write it out, flesh it out, and then let's discuss it, and let's see what we can tweak, and let's see what some of my questions bring up for you, and all of a sudden you're seeing it in a whole new light.
I mean, having that around, or as a resource where you could just, ask those questions, and also, there's that piece of it where you're pushing them to do it, because they kind of have this voice behind them saying, hey, we talked about this. Are you going to do it?
Yes.
It's incredibly powerful. So Joe,
which actually, that's a great segue to the third part of what are the three crucial steps towards creating and actually implementing a personal succession plan. And it's using the same kind of GPS that some of the most profitable companies in the world use.
Mhm.
That is not just another to-do list. I think people are like to-do'd out. It's like, I don't want to just have more to do, but we need something to get you on tracks. You were pointing towards some accountability. So something that would create the milestones and the key objectives that would actually, that when we think it out, those are the milestones that would have me move from where I am stuck to now moving towards extraordinary and
Right.
purposeful and meaningful. And we create that over the next year and then break it down. What does that actually look like? So it feels right and it feels manageable, and you'll actually take action on it
Yeah.
and start seeing the resources that you have available, so you don't have to figure all this stuff out yourself.
Right. Well, you said it right there. If you don't take action, nothing's ever going to happen.
Bada boom. Action equals results.
Exactly. Joe, thank you so much. Where can
Sure.
people learn more about you? How do they find you?
Well, on my website, which is thelifeyoulovecoaching.com, there is more information. There's more information about what I call my resolve framework for taking these 3 basic steps and really fleshing it out. There is an entire process to go through that will enable you and empower you to actually take this information and take it from a good idea to materializing it in your life. So more information there, and a way to as well schedule some time for a conversation to see what could be, even in that one conversation, what can be some key steps that you can take right now that'll make a difference, and no charge for that kind of a
Yep.
consultation.
And
together.
we'll have this website in the information below. So
Fantastic.
Joe, thanks so much. And
Hey, Derek, last thing I want to say is
yeah.
I want to acknowledge you, because as we've talked and you talked to me a bit about your tagline, about what your what your certified financial planning business is about, and you talk about healthy, wealthy, and fulfilled.
Mhm.
I absolutely love that. And not many planners are talking about that fulfilled part, not even the healthy part necessarily, only the financially healthy.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are more holistic like that, and are bringing in resources such as myself to help people feel more fulfilled as part of their overall financial and life planning, I think is beautiful. And I acknowledge you and honor you for the work that you're doing in the world.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. So yeah, I think it's always about, goals are nice, but let's go a little beyond that, right? At the end of the day.
Yes.
So, well, thanks so much, Joe. Appreciate
Thanks
the time.
for having me, Derek.
All right.
Be well.